Mhm. Alright. Hey everybody, this is Dravidius, and welcome to my newly revamped stream. My new, or I guess revamped, I keep using revamped, channel. Um, oh, my monitoring's on, hold on. I can hear everything in the world. Let's change that a little bit. There we go. Um, all right, so today I want to um, show off some of the stuff I've done for my Vampire the Masquerade 6th Edition Chronicle, which is set in Chicago, Chicago by night. I've moved a chronicle forward. I ran Chicago by night in several iterations at uh, my favorite place in Hendersonville, called Kingsmaker's Draft. It has since closed, and we are all very sad. But I met my current gaming friends up here in Hendersonville when I started going there and hanging out. The owners are great. I met, like I said, lots of good close friends that I have now that I game with weekly. Um, I would not have met otherwise. So, in fact, when I started going to Kingsmaker, I was pretty much done with like teaching people how to play um, Vampire, just because I had moved from Salisbury, North Carolina, and had a great gaming group there. Um, Great local gaming store, Comic Mon store. Check them out. In fact, before next video, I'll put a link to their store page. Shout out to the people at the Comic Mon store. They are great. Um, but anyways, I had a great gaming group, a group of friends down there. Moved up to where I currently live in the mountains, and just did not want to have to like teach people how to play the game from scratch again. I've been playing a lot online, but then I went to Kingsmaker, met the owner. He'll be known on our stream as Happy Dictates because that's how he's known on our Discord channel, our group Discord channel. Um, but I met him, and he had some experience with World of Darkness. We were close to the same age, so he knew the older World of Darkness stuff. Really liked Werewolf. Had some experience with Vampire, things like that. So we started talking, and then I met two other people there that had never played Vampire before. Fifth edition had not just come out, but was really hitting its stride. That was right after COVID. So I met um, two other players, and they really fell in love with World of Darkness and Vampire specifically. And I ran Chicago by Night, and I ran that there until the place closed. Um, so now with V6 releasing, I'm doing Chicago by Night again. I set the playtest that was released last week after Gen Con. I set that playtest in Chicago. Pushed our story forward. I changed the setting as far as like what the court looked like now. I never really liked Prince Jackson, the Ventru Prince of Chicago, in the canon stuff. I just didn't like him. It was okay for new players and teaching players how to play, I guess, but just didn't like him very much as a character. Um, so in my game, Annabelle the Treador is now Prince of Chicago, and Juanica is the sheriff. He's a Nosferatu, and there's things going on. Okay, but what I wanted to show you guys today was what I've built for my references. So players watching, hey, spoiler alert, you're going to see some of the NPC stuff, but I think it's cool to show this stuff off because V6 is changing a lot. It's very player focused, player centric, which I love. Um, and the NPCs now are they're the difficulty setters for roles and stuff. So what I've done, this is my NPC sheet that I'll print out on my way to the game tonight. But um, so I've got my kindred of the domain. My characters, my players are have just received a domain in South Shore, which is south side Chicago, um, and they had havens there before, and they had a little domain, but after they completed the events of the playtest, they were awarded with a larger domain by Annabelle, and they received a boon. So I've filled out the domain, and what I've done is I've created kindred population. These are the kindred in the domain. I don't want them as much as possible going outside of their domain. They don't need to go up to the loop for very much. If they're summoned to an Elysium or something like that, if that happens in game, then so be it. That's fine. But my goal is to keep it focused on these 32 blocks of their domain. And I think I've added enough between kindred, mortals, and rumors, things like that, to uh, to make that possible. So here's an example of a kindred. So remember, I think in the last live stream I did, um, I told you the NPC levels were like 1 to 5, and like level 5 is like elite. Like at that level, you're talking princes of cities, not antediluvians, like Methuselah's elders, things like that. Level 5 is kind of elite. Um, so level 4 it should be difficult for the players, very difficult. They should, when they hear that they need to take 4 or 5 dots away, or 5 dice away from a dice pool, that should tell them this person is serious. Like this guy could probably do some harm. Um, that helps them kind of gauge how to react and respond and interact with the NPC. So Victor Salazar here is La Sombra, and his territory in South Shore is a freight terminal. Um, he really manages and controls all the freight and things like that, and knows what's coming and going, and makes things disappear and all that stuff if he needs to. But he has 12 health, 12 willpower, or vitae, it would be if I was using proper terms. I think he's got a couple weapons, but because he's a little bit of a, I guess a doc tough or whatever. But I've given him 4 abilities here. Um, and his signature ability, and all my NPCs, even the mortals, if I go down here, let's see, we'll go over here to see if that's going to work. Nope, it's not. That's fine. We'll go down to the mortals. So even my mortals have a signature ability that gives them a little bit of a level bump to their difficulty. That's their main defining trait. Okay, so if we go back up and check out Salzar, Victor here, his main is shadows know your fears. Victor's shadow stretches towards a target while he calmly names what they fear. The target makes a social test against difficulty 5. That's my dogs in the background. Um, Level +1. He gets that level +1 because that's his signature thing. If they fail that test, they lose 4 willpower. They take 4 willpower damage, and they suffer a 1 die penalty on their next test made directly against Victor. So he just he touches on what they're afraid of, and these shadows just manifest that, and it fucks them up socially, mentally, I should say. Um, so that's just an example of one of the abilities. He's got grasp of darkness. He commands nearby shadows to seize a character. The target makes a physical test against difficulty 5. Again, his base level +1 because it's a signature ability. On a failure, they're restrained. So this is your typical stereotypical La Sombra. Um, grab them with the shadows and hold them, things like that. He can only grab one person at a time, and that's fine. He's always got an exit. Once per scene, he could slip into deep shadow. He just disappears. He shadow steps. Very La Sombra. And It calls in the crew. Once per scene, Victor summons freight terminal security or retainers, and they're level 2 minions. Now, minions in um, V6 are dealt with if they take any kind of damage or they're overcome in any way. Um, they're level 2, so that means interacting with them, the players will subtract 2 dice from their dice pool. So while dealing with them can be easy once you hit them or whatever, they still have a little bit of a difficulty to them. So Victor can summon these guys. He calls them back up, um, and that's your basic NPC right there. Uh, the NPCs in this edition, I'm really enjoying the system. And like I said, I think in the last stream, they really pull from Hunter the Reckoning 5th edition, which, as I said, was probably the best out of the 5th edition line. Um, my friend Happy Dictate and I and uh, Ten Demons, we talked about it last night some. Um, in fact, a lady that comes to karaoke asked me to run a game for because she was interested in learning how to play and what it's about. So we're gonna run Hunter at some point whenever her schedule frees up because she loved Supernatural and it's just easy for her to jump. It'll be easy for her to jump right in. And as a storyteller, um, it's important to make someone's first game something they're really gonna like. Um, I learned and jumped into World of Darkness with vampires, so I automatically want to run vampire when I'm introducing someone to the game. But Happy Dictates was like, well, Hunter's cool because they're mortals. She didn't have to do anything. She didn't have to think outside of her mortal box, other than now you're dealing with supernatural stuff. And once she made the connection of, oh, this is like Supernatural, the show, sort of, she was bought in immediately. Like she immediately had a reference. She immediately had some type of hook to grab onto. So um, if you're running a game, I highly suggest trying to make it something that your players are going to just be able to sink their teeth into, no pun intended, quickly and understand quickly. Um, that way they're not trying to think too far outside the box, at least on that first run. Unless, they really want to just play vampire or whatever setting you're using. Then just make it work, I reckon. Let's see another. So here's Elijah Cross. He's a gangrel. He is generally around the lakefront and sometimes the edges, rail yards, things like that. Um, so he's got Predator's Rush. He can just really fast close the distance. So gangrel in 6th edition have celerity and animalism and fortitude. So this reflects him just running in at sometimes superhuman speeds and attacking somebody. And they have to defend, and when they defend, it's against difficulty level 4. So they're going to get their Dex plus Athletics dice pool together, and out of that dice pool, they're going to take 4 dice away and roll. And they need 8 or better on 10-sided dice that they have left. They need 1 success, only 1. But if they don't get that success, they'll take 3 health or 3 vitae worth of damage. And Elijah can choose whether to knock them down or drive them away from their position, so make them like flee. All the NPCs are basically the same. At least in the build, I should say. They're not obviously not the same. I really like Celine Ashcroft. She's my ministry character. If you aren't familiar with some of the changes brought in V5, the ministry is a new name for the followers of Setites, whichever name you want to use for them. But it's a rebranding and a facelift sort of. I really like her. Tell me what you want. This is a great ability. Celine isolates a target and turns their desires against them. The target makes a social test against difficulty 4, that's her signature ability. So I gave her +1 level. Failure inflicts 3 willpower damage and causes them to reveal a desire, resentment, temptation, or vulnerability relevant to the conversation. and then she can use tempting offer to play on that. Um, I try to make the abilities thematic, obviously for the clan and for the character, and that they can build on each other. So, um, like I said, Predators rush for Elijah and then territorial hunt. If somebody's trying to hide from him in the parks or shoreline or abandoned lots, rail corners, they have to test. And if they fail, he catches up or figures out where they're going and beats them there. Celine's got uh, tell me what you want, tempting offer, all that. Um, Okay, so let's talk about Don Marco Giovanni here. He runs the Blackbriar Funeral Home. Yes, Giovanni. In 5th edition, they had the Great Supper, and all the clans of death came together as the Hecata. Um, Now, they haven't released any lore yet on what changed, if the Giovanni just took it all over, or whatever. I don't know any of the lore with that. They did reintroduce necromancy, but they haven't put out the rules yet. So I was trying to come up um, with necromantic themed um, NPC abilities for him, and so what we came to was the dead attend me. Marco calls on the restless dead around Blackbriar. A target feels freezing hands, hears a dead voice, or glimpses a corpse in reflection, and makes a social test. Uh, if they fail, they lose 4 willpower and 1 die on their next action against Marco. So when he's dealing with people at Blackbriar and they're pressing him or they're giving him a hard time, he uses this. He could call the departed. Once per scene, he summons 2 wraith minions. They manifest as cold, whispers, moving shadows, or barely visible dead figures. Each is removed after taking any damage, like any minion, or being overcome by an appropriate action. So he summons ghosts. Um, the corpse remembers when Marco has access to a recently dead body, which, if he's at the funeral home, he does. He could draw out 1 short sensory impression from its final moments: a face, a few words, an emotion, a place, or another significant fragment. That impression may be confused or incomplete. And then he's got a matter of respect. When Marco quietly invokes family, death, and the consequences of insulting him on his own ground, target makes a social test, and they could lose up to 4 willpower. So Marco is really kind of centered around Blackbriar Funeral Home. That is his haven. That is his place of work. That is his ground, and he is most powerful there. He will very rarely leave. In fact, it would probably be a social contest to even try to convince him to leave the funeral home. If he did, and some of these abilities needed to be used or whatever came up, I would end up reducing the difficulties. Um, so some Nosferatu as well. Um, let's see. We don't want to show him. I got another one up here. Let's show dogs barking. Um, let's show. Here's Vincent Switch Malone. He is one of my main Nosferatu characters in South Shore. I know what you did. As an ability, Switch reveals a compromising observation or secret. Target makes a social test. Failure inflicts willpower damage, and Switch establishes that he knows 1 useful fact about the target's recent activity. Um, Cornered by the network. When a character tries to conceal something, they test. Failure means his watchers, cameras, contacts, dead drops, have left him some kind of usable lead. So Switch always has eyes out and about in South Shore. It's 32 blocks, so he's always got eyes out and about, whether it's animals, whether it's contacts, homeless people, whatever. He Switch hears things and consolidates information. That's his thing. Um, Vanish into the neighborhood is your Nosferatu disappear. Once per scene, he can exploit crowds, service patches, rooftops, or hidden access. And a character trying to keep him in sight has to make a test. Failure means he disappears. And once per scene, he can produce a plausible cached item, message, contact, lead, or piece of local surveillance established beforehand. So um, that's just me being able to use him to you know, drop clues and things like that, or just be helpful. And he doesn't have to have that as an ability. Obviously, a storyteller can just do that shit. But um, let's look at some mortals. Um, some of our mortal NPCs here. Get down, get down. Come on, come on. Okay, so Father Michael Donnelly. Um, he is the local parish priest at St. Bridget's Parish. So notice the vast level difference between my NPC mortals and my NPC kindreds. This is level 2. Um, he's only got 6 health, 6 willpower, no weapons. But a question that lands. So this is like when you're having conversation with him. He calmly asks a question that the character's been avoiding. The target makes a social test against difficulty 3. Again, it is his signature ability, so he gets +1. I'm giving him +1. You don't have to do that, but I think in the storyteller's packet it suggests, if it's some type of signature ability or whatever, give him +1 to the level. Failure inflicts 2 willpower damage, and the character must either end the conversation or reveal something emotionally honest. So, real quick, you're like, oh my god, all this willpower damage. Um, don't lose your mind or panic. There are ways to regain willpower. If you ride the beast or ride the wave, as it's called now, when you frenzy, you regain 2 willpower. You regain willpower if you accomplish a goal or something like that. I storyteller can award like 1 to 3 willpower back. You regain 1 willpower when you drain a mortal dry. So now remember in V5, if you drained a mortal dry, uh, you gained a stain, right? But remember, humanity is different in this. We'll talk about that some more, is either in this stream or another stream. I don't know how long I'll go today. I spent most of the morning revamping my whole channel, changing all my social media. I noticed on my my starting soon page it misspelled my Twitter account that I just created, my X account that I just created for this. But that's Storyteller's Vault as well. Everything I do from now on is Storyteller's Vault. I changed it from 5th generation for 2 reasons. One, because that seemed a little too narrow, focused on past edition. Storyteller's Vault is just open. I don't feel like I'm constrained to talk about just one edition or one thing. And for me, it's just a head thing. I mean, I could have left it fifth generation, but I wanted a fresh start, and I have to say I used ChatGPT to like help me learn OBS and how to set up streams better and have a little bit more um, production quality. And I'm still, at the beginning of this stream, I had to change the monitoring and stuff, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm never gonna have like this super big production or anything just because I have a job, and this is just something fun that I want to do. But maybe one day, if I become independently wealthy, my wife starts making tons of money, or this takes off and everybody loves it, and make it possible for me to do this more often, then I will. But otherwise, I'm just doing the best I can with what I got. So um, I changed it. I changed everything around, and all new images, things like that. So just wanted a fresh start. But that doesn't mean the stuff from 5th generation is gone, especially the podcast. Some of those episodes are still on here. I did them with 10 Demons, and he has got just an amazing voice, amazing like radio voice. It's deep, deep baritone bass voice. It's just magical. If you could just get him to read stories to you, you just go right to sleep. It's awesome. But anyways, those are on here, and some of those are fabulous. I love them. I recorded. They're old. They're echoey because we recorded them at Kingsmaker in the back room. Shut the door, so it was just us back there recording. So that was my first attempt at a podcast. So and again with my other streams on here that are older, those are my first attempts. I'm learning. Have some patience. I appreciate it. So let's look at Father Michael's closer. So he's got his questions at lands. This is him question you. Just because you take willpower damage doesn't mean like it's like an all-out attack. It's willpower is your mental, emotional health. Okay, so the fact that he's doing willpower damage isn't that he's attacking you. It's that he's asking you questions that are digging into your emotions and your thoughts and things like that, and that is can be painful sometimes. I know it is for me when I talk to um, uh, my the father at my Orthodox church um, when I go. Um, those conversations can be hard, and you take a little willpower damage. Sanctuary character trying to threaten, terrorize, or create violence inside Saint Bridget's without drawing immediate mortal attention. Test against the difficulty 3. So if you're trying to hide violence or some issue there, it's harder. And I may add some type of not true faith. I mean, I have in the descriptions of locations for the Chronicle, there I do have for this location this sense of reverence, even from kindred. They just Father Donnelly has been a fixture in the community for years, and he just has a little bit of protection from trouble, and everyone respects the parish. So Evelyn King is the owner of King's Market in South Shore. So everybody knows everybody. When Evelyn directly challenges a, I just got a notification. When Evelyn directly challenges a suspicious stranger's story inside King's Market, that character makes a test. Failure means she notices inconsistencies. Um, So, uh, that's kind of her space. Everybody comes to King's Market, everybody shops there, things like just like your little side store. What are they called in New York? Bodega, maybe. It's got a bit of everything. Um, so let's see what else we got. What else we got? What else we got? And I'm working on my. Um, I don't tend to script my live chats, my live streams. I just chat because that's what I like to do. So you have to forgive some of the pauses. Most of it's just stream of conscience. All right, Anna Reynolds is an NPC from Anna and Arthur both are NPCs from the playtest that they did at Gen Con. Anna is a college student, and Arthur is like a businessman, a local office or something like that. Um, Anna was saved, and um, she's being watched by the Nosferatu player in our group for Masquerade breaches, but she has a panic response. If aggressively cornered about the kidnapping, the questioner makes a social test. Failure causes her to shut down, flee, call for help, or draw public attention. So she's recovering, and this game tonight will take place 3 nights after the events of the playtest. So she's recovering, and she's working on just going back to her college life. But if she's pressed, she has this panic response. Officer Marcus Alvarez is your local like beat cop. Essentially, he patrols South Shore. He has some abilities as well. So those are my NPCs, at least for now. Um, I have several, and these are my gangs. I've got 3 different types of gangs in Southside that I'm running, and then I've got a quick NPC quick reference, so I don't have to open up my document a whole lot. As far as like other documents, I can just use this. Another thing that I've created. There's my dog's barking again. Sorry, wrong button. Let's see. Another one that I've got is my. Let's see here. Player packet. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. Here's my Chronicle Bible. At least for this game. Now, players, there's some Chronicle spoilers, so I'm going to try to avoid that type of thing. So I've got my Chronicle premise here. Chicago 2026. Annabelle now holds Praxis. The neonate coterie has been granted a large South Shore domain and has chosen the Night Watcher's coterie type. Their immediate duty is to know what happens inside their territory, keep threats contained, and prevent the Masquerade from cracking. Um, we'll skip on down and ignore the little bits there. And then we have what's already happened. I've summarized what's happened in the game thus far, just for my reference. Now, the good thing is one of my players has like an eidetic memory when it comes to remembering what happened in games. So sometimes I can just go to him. But I've included some coterie hooks. So I've got my Nosferatu Hound, my Ministry player, my Gangrel player. My Gangrel player, Happy Dictates, is coming into the game for the first time tonight. So first scene will probably open on Sunnyside Grill, which is where his character is most of the time. Works as a line cook when he's not cleaning up kindred messages. But I've just got an outline. Story triggers. Remember, I mentioned story triggers. I think in the last stream. So for me, what I've got right here is just this is the general chart from the storyteller's packet. Spin the drama and drop an omen, which doesn't have anything to do except hints, and then minor events, mild events, and it just goes up. In order to use the spin 5 drama, I have to have first spent 4 drama, so I can't just like jump right to a Masquerade breach or something. It's got to build, okay? So let's skip that one. Ignore that, players, if you're watching. Ignore the Hunter Cell one if you're watching. Ignore that one. Let's go to, well, let me use this one. It's fine. So the goal, gang seeks to profit and security. If the ministry, this is more like for the ministry or whatever, but begins supplying weapons, balance shifts, the coterie becomes responsible for what follows, okay? I spend 1 drama and drop an omen. Maybe the players hear that gang members ask for around for supplies. Tasha Brooks, one of the gang leaders, asks who's moving weapons through her docks. And whatever they follow, I may do more dramatic events. So I've got like a quick list of NPCs that I might want to just grab real quick for something. My rumors threads here, so I can throw those out to my players. And then, if my players want to go somewhere else, I've got stuff for Anna's, the market, Iron Ring, which is a boxing ring in the neighborhood. I've got a little timesheet here that just I don't generally lock myself into I want X, Y, and Z to happen at X time. But I tend to like my sessions to run between 3 and 4.5 hours, generally tops. I usually get up really early. Like this morning, I was up at 5. Yesterday, I was up at 3. So sometimes by about 11:30, I start kind of fading a little bit. Now, if I'm storytelling, it's a little different, I guess. I'm moving around and I'm interactive more. But generally, 3 to 4 hours is the sweet spot for me. That makes me stay focused, and it makes me keep things on track more. I try not to railroad. I try not to like make my players follow a particular line. But personally, for me, it's good for me to be able to kind of mark out where I want the story to go at a certain time. It just helps me stay on track. I tend to my mind tends to wander sometimes, and knowing that, hey, it's 9 o'clock, what are the players doing right now, things like that, and where do I want them to be, that's helpful. So that is that. What else? I've got a do not reveal yet. Let's leave that alone. And then 1-page emergency improv, just in case like something goes off the rails or something out, just fucking crazy happens. I've got that. So I don't know that I'll do this for every session. This was just generally my Chronicle starter. I don't plan out a ton. um, ahead. Uh, that's just how I've always ran things. I don't, like I said, I don't want to plan every moment. I want them to happen organically, and this edition does that well. Um, so that's my Chronicle Bible. Um, I want to Doc Fortune over at his um, stream, which you should check out. Absolutely, he just talks about pop culture, life, and um, all kinds of games type stuff. We're gonna try to work together to get a stream together where we're both talking about TTRPGs because um, we got um, a lot of experience between us and a lot of shared games that we could talk about. But definitely go check out Doc Fortune. The music that I have for this came from Nightcast, and that is on. I've got the link in my YouTube channel. I think it's Pixabay or Pixbay. It's just free open source music. And I heard Nightcasts for Vampire, and I liked it, so we grabbed that. But I want to make sure we shout out to that. I've also got the link to World of Darkness website. That's where you can go to find updates and things like that on what's going on with uh, Vampire 6th edition and upcoming editions of the game. So definitely check out the links. Doc Fortune's link is in there. Um, so let's see, what is it? 9:53. I think that's pretty good for a first stream. I will be back today at some point because I may test out streaming um, some game. I don't know, maybe Baldur's Gate. I don't know what, but I'm learning as I go. Uh, let's see if there's anything else. It was funny. Doc Fortune mentioned. Oops! Now you can see all the background stuff. Oh my God. Um, Doc Fortune mentioned um, uh, humanity and stuff in the game, and he mentioned the bleeding heart. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm a vampire now, and blah blah blah. And he even mentioned Louis from Interview the Vampire. And it's funny. I was talking to Happy Dictates last night, and Tim Demons, and uh, they were saying the same thing. And Happy Dictator was like, God, I hate Louis. Even in the new Interview with the Vampire stuff on AMC, which I love, it's a great show. He was just like, I just don't like the character. He's just this bleeding heart kind of guy. And uh, Doc Fortune was saying that too. A great thing that this edition does um, is it puts that humanity and that uh, beast and all that on the tracker on your character sheet. If I load up this character sheet, um, let's go to my characters here. Now I am in Demiplane, um, which I use all the time. Here's my Gangrel Neonate. Okay, let's load her up. So Doc Fortune was talking about how World of Darkness tends to do a good job at trying to give everybody a little bit of what they want. It's got role playing and game system. It's not just heavy on the game system. If you want a system like that, then you're looking at Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder. Those systems are there and they're fun for what they do, but the role play is not super involved. Um, can be, but it generally is not. Um, but World of Darkness tries to do both. Um, I will be. Let's take a break real quick though, and we will come back and I will continue this. Okay, so we'll be right back. All right, well, welcome back. As you might guess, I had to run to the restroom super fast because I'm old now and I've drank a lot of coffee today so far. All right, so remember, I was talking about Doc Fortune talking about um, getting a phone call here. And of course, it's when I'm streaming. Um, so give me a second. Let me step away and real quick again. I'll be right back. I gotta answer my wife's phone call, make sure all is well with the world. So give us just 1 minute. All right, so I guess the important thing to do is tell your family and people that you are streaming and not to call you or anything. So, one more time, real quick, let's get back to this. And then I'll finish up, and then people can call me. So, um, the humanity and the beast tracker, talking about how that interacts um, in the game with mechanics and role play. So if I go over here, let's see, here's my sheet. Um, let's go to humanity. Here we go. So uh, remember, the humanity starts in the center. If Seraphine wakes up at night or wakes up for the night, I mark off a vitae, and I mark off one. There go the dogs. I mark off one of each of her animalistic and her nature um, trackers. The more I want to play into the beast and the animalistic nature and be a vampire, and not be the bleeding heart Louis, I get benefits. So, first off, the Gangrel's Beast is simple, animalistic, all that jazz. That talks about what my Gangrel's Beast is when it goes off, when I frenzy. Um, but I want to show you marking off a beast tracker represents the urges of your beast growing stronger each night. Its growling gets louder, and each act of hedonism or animalistic hunger or blood or desire empowers it. The more you ignore its call, the louder it grows, the closer you come to losing control of it. You can indulge the beast to ease its demands, but giving in is no guarantee of safety. Even then, you may find yourself under its control. So, monstrous acts as a vampire, your very existence depends on draining the life out of others. Thus, the pull of your monstrous side is therefore inherently stronger than the pull of your mortal side, and it grows stronger almost every time you drink your victim's blood. As you play your vampires, some actions will inevitably feed the beast inside you, empowering its pull over you. Such acts include, so, killing a mortal, no matter what no matter who it is or what it's doing to you. So even if they're attacking you, if you kill them, that riles up your beast. You mark off a beast tracker. Feeding on mortals and draining their life can cause you to mark boxes on the beast tracker, depending on the state of the mortal after the feeding. So if you feed on them and they're fine, you take 1, 2, or 3 points of vitae, probably okay. If you take them farther, it heightens the beast. If you take them farther, it heightens the beast. If you kill them, it heightens the beast. Um, at the storyteller's discretion, other acts tied to the game's themes can cause you to mark boxes on the beast or nature tracker. For example, in a game themed around romance, acts of great cruelty or betrayal could make you mark a beast tracker. While in a game themed around loyalty, acts that force you to break a promise could make you mark on the nature tracker. So um, I can rile my beast to gain, or my nature. Here's another way I can gain willpower back. So again, when we first started this little journey today together, I talked about all this willpower damage people are taking. You can rile your nature or your beast and gain a willpower back. You just mark off a box. um, Acting on impulses and beliefs. What I'm getting to here. Beast frenzy. All right, let's go. See if it's gonna be in here. So as you go farther into one side or the other of your humanity nature, it affects gameplay, and I want to see if I know I can get into it from just just going to the rules, but um, and I may just skipped it when I was running through here real quick. Here we go, humanity scale. This is important. Good and evil. Humanity scale doesn't represent a scale of good and evil. Every vampire contains the aggressive, predatory, and impulsive presence of the beast. Vampires are as varied as people they once were. A vampire can do good deeds and still sit on the monstrous side of the scale, and the reverse is just as true. Clinging to your nature can drive you to acts of cruelty as anything the beast demands. The core of who you are is the duality of your beast and nature, and satisfying either side might lead you towards acts of traditionally good or evil. So, so the human stages. So here's the neutral state: monstrous 0, everything 0. It's just in the middle. You are evenly divided between your two sides, and your beast and nature hold equal influence over you. This is where you begin. It's not a resting place, but a moment of balance before the pull takes hold. In this state, your game stats don't change. You appear as recently deceased individual with tight skin or a deathly pallor, but not clearly undead. You can usually pass as immortal unless closely inspected. Monstrous 1, so I've stepped over the line towards beast, or monstrous. Beast begins to gain a foothold in your mind, and passing for human grows harder as your predatory instincts sharpen. Whispers of the beast grow louder, pushing you to give in to your desires and exert dominance over others. Something in your presence hints at your predatory nature, making mortals uneasy around you. This exact detail is up to you. Your eyes could be more opaque, your teeth a little too pointed, your gestures a little archaic or not quite natural. So now it starts affecting your game, your stats. Blush of Life, while Blush of Life is active, you can no longer consume food or liquids. If you do it anyway, you vomit at the start of your next scene and suffer a -1 dice penalty to all tests for the rest of the scene as nausea overtakes you. Predatory Presence, your vampiric nature can be subtly felt by mortals. While you remain at this stage, you gain the following effects. These effects don't apply to your ghouls or other mortals bonded to you. You suffer a -1 dice penalty to all tests that involve connecting with, convincing, or positively influencing a mortal. You gain a +1 dice bonus to any test that involves intimidating, scaring, or commanding a mortal. When I switch to the mortal side, so if I'm playing more of the Bleeding Heart Louis-ish, my appearance, though with a slight, I appear human with a slight deathly pallor. My skin isn't cold as a cadaver, even without Blush of Life active, but it isn't as warm as a mortal. Only under close examination could anyone suspect you are truly alive. You aren't truly alive, excuse me. With Blush of Life active, You can consume up to one full meal each night without feeling ill, though you gain no sustenance from it. You must still expel the food from your body before the end of the night. With your mortal nature brought to the forefront, you connect with mortals more easily. While you remain at this stage, you gain the following effects. I gain a +1 dice bonus to all tests that involve connecting with, convincing, or positively influencing a mortal, and I suffer a -1 die penalty to any test that involves intimidating, scaring, or commanding a mortal. Um, so as I go through and get deeper into each track, all these things start to change. Blush of Life at Monstrous, Monstrous 2, so level 2 of my Beast track. Uh, as Monster 1, except you vomit a few turns later rather than the next scene. If you eat, you are nauseous for the remainder of this scene and all of the next. In addition, you can't have sex unless you spend one extra vitae, and even then, you feel no pleasure from it. My presence to mortals is more obvious, and the beast within, as your beast exerts more control, the gifts it brings grow stronger. You gain +1 dice bonus to any power test you make when using a clan discipline. So as I get more beastly and give into my vampiric nature more, my discipline's becoming more empowered because I'm giving into that power that gives them to me. And again, if I go more into the mortal side, the benefits change. So what the humanity tracker does now is it gives mortals, um, it gives humanity weight in the game more than just like this role playing mechanic or this kind of um, like stains or sins on a level of humanity like you had in previous editions. Um, it changes the way your character plays. So if you want to be more animalistic or more given into the beast, then uh, you gain the benefits and drawbacks of that. So if I'm going to continue with Doc Fortune's interview the vampire metaphor, or not metaphor example, um, so Lestat is much more connected to his beast. He's probably monstrous level 2, maybe even 3. I don't know. I'd have to really dig in and think about it, and maybe I'll do that in another stream. But so how does Lestat work so well around all these mortals and all that? Well, he uses his disciplines. Uh, if we want to just keep it in game terms, he uses his disciplines like presence and clan traits from Toreador, like beguiling voice and stuff like that. These are all things that overcome the penalties that being the beast, being closer to his beast, levies against him. Um, Louis, on the other hand, um, is more tied to his mortal side and leans towards that more. So mortals are more comfortable with him. You see him much more involved in the show, in diners and places like that, talking to mortals, things like that. Really, the only mortals you see Lestat dealing with are people that he has control over in some way, shape, or form, either through the use of his powers or through the use of his resources. Lestat has control over the people around him, and so that overcomes that beastly nature that he has, because he absolutely does not give any shits about mortal life, except in how it can help or benefit him. So uh, that mechanic really plays into those two characters, and really those are two characters that you can really use to kind of to kind of see how this mechanic works. Um, but anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this. I apologize for the couple of breaks. Like I said, a phone call from my wife, um, and having to take a quick restroom break again. Um, like and subscribe. Follow me on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. It's Storyteller's Vault, not whatever it said on my banner. I got to get that changed. Um, but it's Storyteller's Vault. I'm also on Facebook as a Storyteller's Vault. It's not a separate page. It's my personal page, so you're going to see um, all kinds of things. But feel free to shoot me a message there. Shoot me a message on X. Leave me comments and stuff in the YouTubes. Again, I'm learning as I go, so your patience is greatly appreciated. But I love this. I love gaming. I love chatting. I love especially World of Darkness games. I will be, chatting about other things on Storyteller's Vault, but World of Darkness is my jam. Given the choice, I think I said last stream that I'm really enjoying the D&D game we're running, or not. We're running. Blind Envy is running, and I'm getting to play in. I love my character. In fact, if I stream Baldur's Gate later today, I'll stream my main game, and that is I'm named my main character Gloomwalking because that's who he is in our D&D game. I'm playing a Gloomwalker Ranger cleric. So I love it. He's a fabulous DM. In fact, I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever played in a game that he's ran other than this D&D game. Over the years, it's just been me running games for the group. And he's fabulous. He's very descriptive. I can't say enough about it. If you ever get a chance to play with him, either live or on Discord or something like that, I highly suggest it. Blind Envy is great at his DMing. Very thorough, very great world building, just engaging. I love it. But that being said, given the choice, I will always choose to play World of Darkness over a fantasy game, even Daggerheart, and I like Daggerheart. Doc Fortune was chatting about Daggerheart, and I totally get his points of views on it. Um, and yeah, I will always choose World of Darkness over anything else when it comes to tabletop role playing games. The system is just really super 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 easy to pick up. The V6 World of Darkness stuff is even better. I love it. There are a few little things that need to change. Like I really don't like Assamites or Banu Hakim having like generic access to blood sorcery. I feel like they need something a little bit more specialized than that. Um, I don't like the vibrating hand celerity thing at all. Like, we were joking about it last night, and Happy Dictates was saying, no, no, you can use it to like get out of like handcuffs or chains or whatever, and I guess that's cool, but I just can't get over it. So that needs to go. Um, but we'll see as we test it tonight, and then we keep pressing towards a full release. My players and I are going to keep pushing these rules and seeing what happens. So um, I'm going to take a break. I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you did like it. Or don't subscribe and just hit the like button if you liked it. Whatever you want. There are lots of opinions out there. Mine is just one. So thank you so much, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.